What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. Now, apologies for the little scratchy noise in the background of my mic last episode. I'm not sure why it was doing that, but it does seem to be fixed now. On top of that, I did notice the game sounded a little bit quiet, so I did go ahead and crank the volumes a little bit too. Of course, it is getting audio ducked while I talk, but it still sounded a little quiet even in the in-betweens, so hopefully that's all addressed now and we can press on. One more dip into the tentacle healthcare. Let the teammates experience that.
We are nearing the Helm. Once inside, do as I say.
Who put you in charge? I'll trust my own judgment.
Cane yank.
Remember when I said that would be the last thing they ever agreed on? I don't know what cane yank means, but it's definitely derogative. Reminds me of the Canary in Dragon Age. They call people Vashadan, which basically means stupid or ignorant. Tasty brains. You know, they look much less intimidating when they get smoked by little imps like that.
Connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the Geich after we escape.
Connect the nerves. Nerves! We will connect them.
You know, it's kind of cute for a repulsive little brain creature.
Impact is imminent.
Alright, now this encounter is what we gave Shadowheart her little command ability for. You'll be seeing what I'm using that for in a second. 65 and 85. We'll have Lae'zel attack this imp. She has the highest chance to hit for that.
Nothing will stand in my way.
75. We'll take a shot at the ball.
Fight, friend.
Beautiful critical hit to take it out. No loot for us. We have the range. Yeah, we don't. Alright, Oz, you're up. Finish off this imp for me. Use him to press forward.
Act fast.
And Shadowheart just needs to get up.
To keep going.
She just needs to get up into the fray a little. Try and get cheeky and hit this one with a fireball. It's a bonus action, so we can get away with casting those. Oh. It's rare to see him hit that on Tactician, actually. He usually misses like crazy on the big guy. Lae'zel, move up. Redeem yourself with the crossbow shot. 85%. There we go, beautiful.
Blood comes easy these days.
And we'll heal ourselves. Use dash and we'll try and move up too. This whole thing is timed, so you do want to move up as fast as you can. You see these little turns here. I think around 8 or 7 reinforcements come for this guy. You do not want to be around when he gets there. Move Oz up. He's kind of our cannon fodder in all this.
My faith will protect me.
And Shadowheart, we are going to see how much luck we have on this playthrough. So if you go to command, you see one of her abilities is drop. Command a creature to drop its weapon. This dude has a very cool burning sword, which is very overpowered early game, so if we can get him to drop it, it's only a 55 chance, so it is a big dice roll. And we got it first time. Very beautiful.
Leave them to me. Connect the transponder.
And now he's just gonna throw hands like a big old potato.
Must take the transponder.
Lae'zel, you're gonna yoink that. Of course, you don't have the points for it. Yankee Mage Hand. I wonder. Can I get Mage Hand to grab that?
Sometimes the only way out.
We'll find out. Let's just get us to do it, actually. Okay, we have it. That's the important part. So we'll shoot this over to Lae'zel. Now, I did put myself in a very bad position here. We can try and flourish him. Of course we missed. Now if he hits us, we're likely dead. He did, but it wasn't a big deal.
Hurry, before they strike.
Now you can totally kill him and the rest of them, but It's a little ill-advised, especially on such a high difficulty. You want to just get over here and pull this switch as fast as you can, in my experience. We are going to use Shadowheart to heal us up a little. Beautiful. This guy's going to have a much easier time with the commander now that he doesn't have his weapon. He doesn't know what to do with himself.
No time left.
I think he was trying to look for the mage hand, actually. Now, if we can... She might die. No, she's fine. We're okay.
No time to waste.
Now she can move freely. So we want to get her up to start attacking these creatures. Gotta clear the path forward a little.
Nothing important is ever easy.
Gonna have enough room for a poison spray. The whip is 95. Let's hit him with the whip. That takes care of him. Beautiful. I'm just gonna move everybody on up. As close to this switch as we can.
Need to stay focused. On I go.
Free fireball action. We have 80% and 60. Just the hog left. I'll punch him with the mage hand just to be cocky. I was doing the job for us and face tanking that. See his friends are showing up here in a second.
On the move.
Lesser Hellbore. Well, Lae'zel, since you did get a new toy, I don't think you're gonna have the range to do anything with it yet, but you can equip it. That means she'll have it later. 75%. Maybe we'll get another lucky crit. Didn't need the crit.
Forward, Istik.
Keep jumping everybody up.
Finish
To end most of these turns, I want to be the one to hit the switch. We're just gonna crank everybody up. When the reinforcements arrive, give him another disrespectful punch. Hit him with that big 1 damage.
Take this ship, or Astarion will have your head.
This is why we wanted to move up. Untactician this early, with the limited gear that we have, these guys will rock your world. You do get a lot of XP if you manage to tough it out, but you really don't need to. Alright, now we'll mosey on over to our character, and let's escape this place.
The Helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time.
The dragons look very cool in this game. They managed to show back up at a very inopportune moment. I mean, damn, they chased the Nautiloid all the way to the hills. Then tells me under attack we're gonna have quite an abrupt landing. It was already crashing. Wherever we bounce this to, it's still gonna hit the deck. You know that stung. I don't know what's better, falling from the sky like this or being aboard that thing when it crashes. Love it when the plot armor kicks in. Well, we lived. And we're free for as long as, you know, our mind is our own.
As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull.
Let's check ourselves for injuries.
Other than the infection, you're more or less intact. A miracle, given everything you've been through.
I'd say so.
It'll be for nothing if you don't find help soon. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need a cure.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily looking forward to
Have to keep going.
slowly losing myself.
Fresh water. There must be a settlement somewhere nearby.
It is usually a good showing. Back in the medieval days, wherever you would find fresh water, people would automatically just build camps and settlements by the you need it. And here it looks like we weren't the only one that fell. We could reach for the artifact, but I'm not interested in robbing somebody who's unconscious. We have bigger priorities right now, like getting this thing out of her head, and she seemed like she could handle herself in a fight.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible?
I was hoping you might know that.
I remember the ship. I remember falling. Then nothing.
What happened to our Gith friend?
You might want to reconsider calling her a friend. Looks like she ran off without us.
Those two really don't like each other. Do you have any idea where we are?
No, I don't recognize this place. But anything's an improvement on where we just came from. First things first, we need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads.
You want to stay together?
We need each other, and we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company.
I'm inclined to agree. Let's get moving.
One thing, just before we go. I wanted to thank you again for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod, but you didn't. I'll remember that. Lead the way.
Interested in how she's just defaulting to being okay with us leading her. Definitely wasn't okay with Lae'zel taking that position. Now, one thing I'd like to point out too as we roam around and loot up here is the amount of freedom of choice you have in this game. Larian did such an amazing job with the amount of branching paths and things you can and can't do. Like, we could have totally left her in the pod there to rot, and I'm not sure where she would show up, but I imagine she would still fall out. She's pretty important to the plot, but you can also kill your companions here. You can be evil, you can be morally grey, you can be good, chaotic, and neutral. There are a lot of freedom of choice options in this game, and honestly, I sorely missed that for a long time. The only other game I've ever played that gave me anything close to that level of freedom and engagement would be Dragon Age Origins, and honestly, this gives you more freedom and engagement than that game, and anybody who knows anything about me and this channel knows that Dragon Age Origins is kind of my sacred cow in terms of video games, and this is the first game since Origins back in 2009 that gave me that feeling of investment and freedom of choice and being able to really RP my character. And there's no morality system locking you into anything. You just make the decisions and the choices that fit your character and your playthrough. It's very good, and it lends itself to so many replays and so many different things and characters you can play as. Like, I'll probably be making a fair share of quote-unquote evil decisions in this game, but I'll also be making good ones. I'll basically be playing this as close to the decisions I would make in real life as possible, because that's kind of how I like to do it. Shanties for the Bitch Queen. I was going to read this, but given that it's a sing-song, I don't think you'll want to suffer through me singing, so we'll just take it for later. We'll sell that down the line. I'm not going to break into a Broadway musical here. Perfumed letter. Sigh. I love you. There. I said it. And if you meet me tomorrow, I'll say it again. And again. And keep on saying it till we're old and grey. So let's do it. Let's go to Baldur's Gate. I know it's risky, but so's staying here. The last few months have been hard, but they're always a little easier when you're there. Leave your boat and meet me at the hill overlooking the old bridge. Bring whatever you can carry. We'll make do without the rest. Don't be late. Love, Anna. And unfortunately, it seems like Anna wasn't here to meet this guy. But at the very least, he got here a little too early. Now, I'm not sure what he died to. Perhaps the intellect devourers came through here and did this, because there is a dead one right there. And I'm not seeing... I don't think it crashed close enough to the shore over here for them to have died from the crash. But I think looking at this, it was definitely the intellect devourer's work. Make sure we loot up. Lots of important things here. Now, unfortunately, we don't actually have a way to speak to the dead yet. Because I would love to have a little chit-chat with some of these people to see what actually happened to them. We'll be able to come back later and do that. I might just do that, actually. I never have, so that'll be interesting to see if we can speak to them and figure out what happened to these people. For right now, though, we gotta get situated and find some of our party at least. We know Lae'zel came through here, even though it seems like she didn't bother much to check on us. Which again is another interesting note on Lae'zel's character, right? Because we saved her. We helped her get off the Nautiloid, and still, she wasn't interested in assisting us at all. She just kind of left us to rot. Come what may. And maybe Shadowheart was a little right about her being selfish, not really on our side. He did say we kept dangerous company. Kind of a means to an end when it comes to Lae'zel, I think. At least initially. We served our purpose, we got her off the Nautiloid, and so she moved on. We were down and out, so we would have been a hindrance, not an assistance, and so she just moved on. Before we move on, let's tackle these level ups. Druid level 2, and immediately we get access to our subclass, which is very, very good. Of course, you all voted, and I answered. We'll be going Circle of Spores. Viewing death, necrosis, fungal growth, and sporulation as just another part of life. You can manipulate such spores to augment yourself and harm your foes. We get Wild Shape. We have access to a couple of different shapes, but we won't be using them much. We're mainly going to be using these chargers for Hail of Spores and Symbiotic Entity. Now, Symbiotic Entity is what becomes really interesting with this class as a melee class. So, when you cast this, gain 8 temporary hit points and deal an additional 1 to 6 necrotic damage while you have them. Cast Halo of Spores with double damage, and it lasts until long rest. Symbiotic Entity ends early if you use Wild Shape, can only have temporary hit points from one source. So as long as we have the temporary hit points from this, we will be doing necrotic damage with our swords and double damage on Halo of Spores, which is very cool. And of course we get access to Bone Chill's cantrip. And in Prepare Spells, we don't really need to create water. What do we want to take here? Not much of it is going to matter, at least for right now, so maybe we'll just take Tangle. More Friendship, Charm, Thunderwave. Fog Cloud could be interesting. Let's just go for Entangle, it doesn't really matter right now. Of course, we have feet here. You wouldn't ordinarily get this. Normally in the game it's 4, 8, 12, so we're getting a lot more feats than we normally would. Let's go with Alert, because our Dexterity is a little lacking at 14, but this is going to give +5 to Initiative, so that's going to be pretty good, I think. We currently have +2 to our Initiative. I think that's how that works, so +5 will be +7. That'll put us very well off for the meantime. Shadowheart's early levels here aren't going to mean much, but once we get to our camp and get our respec mechanic up, that's when we'll start messing with her builds proper. So for now, she won't need command anymore. I don't like the heal touch thing, so what are we going to give you, Shadowheart? We can give you Bless. And... Sanctuary, not really good for these random, like, field encounters. Let's give you Bane. I don't think you'll use it much, but... I'm going to give her Alert, too. Just make sure my party can't be surprised. Surprise is a very important mechanic in this game that can nerf you really hard, so...
Can't give up now.
I'll go those. Again, those are going to be the main features of the mods I'm using. Is I get the extra attack with Druid, like you would on a regular martial class, and then defeats. Those are the main differences here. I guess the way dual wielding works, but that's just a small quality of life change. I feel like you should have always been able to attack with both weapons without it nuking your economy. Elixir, bronze necklace, and a caustic bulb. Well, the 10 XP for finding that chest is actually more worthwhile than the contents, but... take XP wherever I can get it in these early stages. We got levels to get. And while we're here, let's go ahead and pop Symbiotic Entity. You see we get 8 temporary health points, and our weapons are going to be coated with the necrotic damage. Yeah, see, I rolled 11 initiative this time. So we have vastly superior position in here. Let's do 95. Without an alternative range option, let's just do it with the Ice Bolt. Do a lot of frost damage to him, kind of get him a little shook. Shadow, move up. We got an 80% chance to hit. And she hits an 8, and that takes care of the first one. We will move her up slightly. I want her to be the main target here. Beautiful dodge. I wasn't so lucky. So I only got 3 of my hit points left. Halo of Spores is 1 to 4. It's 55. Bone Chill is 95. Hit him with Bone Chill. Critical miss is very unfortunate. Now let's try Halo of Spores. That did hit, and then you see the double damage proc in that too, which is nice.
Got to focus.
Shadowheart, you have an 85% chance to hit on a melee. It's 95 on that, but that's a little pricey. I will hit you with it though, because you have more health. Crazy 16 damage. Let's try and bait this guy into attacking her instead of me. I don't want to have to recast my symbiotic entity. And this should be the end of him at 95%.
Perhaps our survival isn't such a distant prospect.
You had doubts?
My faith protects me.
We'll let her take a potion. In terms of your economy, you're actually... every time you use spell slots, like you see I'm 2 down from the ice barrages I've been using, those only come back on long rest for the camp, I believe. Maybe short rest. It's been a while since I played. But you see you only have 2 short rests, so you do have to be careful when you're resting and when you're doing whatever you're doing. Gotta be cautious. Use your economy wisely. It's worth pointing out too that you can only rest when you have enough camp supplies to do so, otherwise it'll be a trash rest and you won't get any benefits. Right now, we're just moseying around. Get oriented, grab our loots, collect our party members too, which is also important. We got 3 party members to pick up in this area. Heading towards 2 of them right now. One of them is very important. I haven't much decided on what kind of party makeup I'm going to be going for this playthrough. I probably should. Figured I'd just figure it out when it comes to it. I have a general idea. The duo you see on screen right now is going to be together the whole game. See if we can lockpick this. We're not a rogue, but we do have dexterity, so... yeah, 2 from dex and 1 from the lockpick. And we can get Shadowheart here to give us a little bonus. Please secure the bag. Didn't need it. Nat 20. Critical success. The first nat 20 of the game. Belladonna.
For me.
Eventually we'll unlock some pretty cool little potions that we can make with some of this stuff, so it's good to be thorough. Now there is a hidden chest down here that I always like to go check if I'll get the perception check for it early, because if you miss it once, you will never re-roll it. That'll be that. So if we miss it here, I'll have to bring other characters back to do the check again next time. Right under this rock, but you don't always get the check. We got it. Beautiful. Now we don't have the strength to move it. A Shadowheart might. He does.
And these things have stayed in.
Now you can get sneaky and pick it up on the corner. We got some cool stuff here. Potion of speed. Harper's map. Let's take a read of this. This stained, ragged map has passed through countless hands. A little harp marks an area called Moonrise Towers, with a small inky crescent sketched in the nearby forest. Below the crescent is a more recent scroll. Cache. We have a Harper's notebook. A tattered collection of reports held together with a moon and harp seal. There is frequent mention of sacrilegious activity among a local Selûnite sect. Oh, we're off to a great start RNG-wise. I failed that check more times than I've passed it, which is why I did it so early, because if not, when we pick up the companions, you just bring them on back and let them take a stab at it. Here's somebody yelling for help like a helpless child over here. We'll check that out in a sec.
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things cornered. There, in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others?
Easily. Stand back.
There. Can you see it?
Just a dumb boar. You're relieved until you see the flash of a dagger.
No, we caught him. He wasn't as slick as he thought he was. If this is a robbery, you're off to a bad start, Elf.
I just need information. I saw you scuttling about on the ship. You're in league with them, aren't you? Those tentacle... Ah!
Your mind twists. You're looking out of unfamiliar eyes, prowling dark, busy streets. You try to hold the memory, but it fades to the worm. The light. The fear.
What was that? What's going on?
It's the Mind Flayer worm. It connected us.
The worm. Of course. That explains things. Somewhat. And to think, I was ready to decorate the ground with your innards. Apologies.
Apology accepted. I might have done the same were the roles reversed.
A kindred spirit.
Interesting to note, Shadowheart approved of that
My
statement.
name's Astarion. I was in Baldur's Gate when those beasts snatched me.
And we'll introduce ourselves.
A pleasure. So, do you know anything about these worms?
Yes, unfortunately. They'll turn us into Mind Flayers.
Turn us into... Of course it'll turn me into a monster. What else did I expect?
But the only reasonable reaction is to laugh, I reckon.
It hasn't happened yet. If we can find an expert, someone that can control these things, there might still be time.
Control it. We need to get rid of it.
Well, yes, of course. But first things first.
An interesting little insight into Astarion's character too. His first thing is to control it and still keep the power, rather than to get rid of it. You should travel with me. Our odds are better together.
You know, I was ready to go this alone. But maybe sticking with the herd isn't such a bad idea. And you seem like a useful person to know. All right. I accept. Lead on.
Useful enough to see through your ruse. He's very pompous and proper. Now, a cool thing about this is the Speak with Animals is ritual for the druid, so you can cast it for free and it stays up until long rest. And now we can talk to this little boar over here and any animal we run into.
Away! Away!
They have a lot of interesting things to say sometimes. They can give you pretty cool details on areas, or even help you in fights too. Calm down, I won't hurt you.
You're all the same. Too many of my kind died because of your spears, but not me!
Shadowheart is an animal lover. She approved of that too. Alright, Astarion. What can we do for you? Well, temporarily, until we get a chance to respec you. Let's just give you... You might not need a lot, actually, given that you're already at 17 dex. What do we have for you? Weapon Master, Savage Attacker, Mobile, Martial Adept. Sharpshooter would be a pretty good bet. You can toggle off the negative rolls here, so you see how it says ranged weapon attacks with weapons you are proficient with have a -5 penalty to their attack roll, but deal an additional 10 damage. You can toggle that off and still just get the high ground rules ignoring from that, which is cool. I like that you can do things like that. You know, maybe we do still give him alert just to make sure that he's always going first, because the build we're going to give him, he's going to need to be going first a lot. Let's do that. And of course, I did pick up a mod for our good roguey friend here, so we'll send this to Astarion.
What now?
Let's get you dressed, Astarion. Got his dual crossbows on. His dual daggers. Switch these over to the main hand. Right, so the eminent outfit. What are we looking for? Definitely like the mercenary fit better. Got a cool cloak. He doesn't have any gauntlets, and oh, my mistake. Yes, he does. Beautiful. That'll take care of Astarion. He's looking fresh. We do have some dyes that I'll be putting on things later, but for now, that should be good for him. You're not going to need this anymore, so you could just send that back to camp.
No one back home.
And we're off. We're ready to continue on. Head back into the crash side down here. Into the dead mind flare. Happy to see every one of those corpses that we ever find.
Footprints. There may be even more that survived the crash.
Dead goblins over there. Worth checking for supplies, maybe.
Makes you wonder if this is Lae'zel's handiwork. He did obviously come through here at some point. Something tells me she wouldn't have too much trouble with a random pack of goblins. Seemed very capable, if not a little arrogant.
Looks unstable.
Let's check it out.
You approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
Touch the sigil. See what's going on with this thing.
A hand? Anyone?
Now, cool thing about this game is there's a Dark Urge playthrough, which is the quintessential evil playthrough. You can actually carve this dude's hand off right as you meet him. Which is funny because otherwise he would be a main character for your party. So, Druid Wisdom. Let flow some words of prayer to soothe the sigil's magic. See how our luck holds up. We'll give Shadowheart bonus to it too. Shadowheart cast guidance is a meme for a reason. We actually got a failure, just straight up. Didn't even get a chance to roll it.
The magic around the sigil hisses like a cornered cat. Your only option now is to grab the hand and pull.
Well, this might be a problem. We don't have much strength. We have disadvantage on this too. But we still nailed it. So when you have advantage, you roll twice and you use the highest. When you have disadvantage, you roll twice and use the lowest. Oh, we nailed the strength pull.
That's it.
Makes sense, that dude does look pretty jacked.
Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this.
At introductions.
At magic. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the Norse Lloyd as well.
I was, yes.
And I can only assume you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region.
That's one way you could put it. I couldn't have phrased it more repellently myself.
No use sugarcoating it, is there?
Probably true.
The entity we speak of, this parasite, are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceremorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
The knitting needle is actually a little bit of foreshadowing for
You
later.
seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt, but I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them.
I can tend to basic wounds and ailments, but alien parasites, I'm afraid not.
As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon, too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together?
Sounds like a plan. You're welcome to join me.
Most excellent. A parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect.
Technically, a parasite shed in this situation is a parasite multiplied.
With most ill-mannered a man
We have 4 parasites in the party now.
for pulling me out of that stone. It was an act of foresighted kindness, I assure you. For I have the feeling ample opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor.
I would hope so. And he is Gale, the resident mage, if you couldn't tell by his appearance. And the subclass we're going to be using him for is Divination. Now, Divination has some cool things. One of the main things is he can kind of tell the future and affect dice rolls for attacks and defense. And he also learns spells much easier. Less expensive. When you catch a scroll, you can just learn it yourself. Now, we are going to need Featherfall for later, so we'll just equip that right now. And Magic Missile is definitely a staple for any kind of mage class. Won't need that. We don't need Featherfall yet, so we'll leave that off for now. Suppose we could give... Yeah, let's keep Grease on. Let him grease the wheels a little. And, of course, we're going to give him Alert, so he can't get surprised and stun-locked. Helps tremendously to have your characters go first in the hierarchy. Now, we do have this last little smidge of the ship to explore before we wrap the episode.
There. A mind flayer. And it's hurt.
That thing's bound to be dangerous, even if injured. Best be careful.
You're right. I have no interest in conversing with this mind flayer. All that's left to do is put it out of its misery.
Monster. Death is too good for it.
I'm inclined to agree. I think he got off easy. Maybe we ought to have let him suffocate to death under the rubble or something, but I'd rather get him dealt with. Don't want his squid friends coming along and saving his life. There'd be one more to deal with later. And I think we looted all of this ship up. Let me take a little peek down here. We do have one more of our helpful companions left to grab. You'll notice we didn't find the Githyanki friend yet. We'll go get her before we wrap the episode. We probably won't be using her right off the bat, but it doesn't hurt to have her available to us. The rogue's morsel. Smashed cage.
Broken. Must have been here a while.
So there's traps in the area.
Zoru was right. Yellow as a toad, twice as ugly.
The thing's dangerous. Leave it for the goblins to kill.
Your skull pounds in response to the prisoner's white-hot stare.
If looks could kill.
Lips don't move, yet you hear her voice.
Get rid of them. Holy house. Under elf.
Lay tight, Nymitha.
I assure you, you don't want that fight. If you value your life, walk away. No need to kill innocents if we can avoid it.
Demaze.
Come, Nymitha. Now.
Enough gawking. Get me down.
Say please.
Never.
Well, I didn't think she'd be much for manners.
Observe and listen.
It adds up. Let's go ahead and equip this. We're not proficient with it, but we don't need to be. We only needed to shoot down Lae'zel.
The tadpole hasn't yet scrambled all your senses. Auspicious. But the longer we wait, the more it consumes. My people possess the cure for this infection. I must find a creche. You will join me.
She's a little rough around the edges.
She obviously sees your kindness as weakness. Don't let her take advantage.
And what exactly is a creche?
It is many things. A hatchery, a training grounds, a shelter.
Githyanki protocol is clear. When infected with a gay tadpole, we must report to Augustil for purification.
A simple thank you wouldn't go amiss.
You may as well suggest a wyvern bow to worms. The cure I offer will suffice as thanks.
She's quite the practical individual. Alright, we journey together. Let's find this creche.
The party's full. You'll need to make room.
Indeed we would. So, do we want to drop somebody? Astarion is our resident roguey friend, so we'll be keeping him. It is nice to have a mage in the party somewhat. So the choice is basically between Shadowheart and Lae'zel. What's coming next, I need Shadowheart, so why don't you meet me at camp?
Very well, but heed my words. The Horned Ones mentioned a camp. One there, this Zoru, has seen Githyanki.
A creche must be near. I must interrogate this Zoru. Our very lives depend on it. I will be at your camp. Do not keep me waiting.
She's just full of attitude. She reminds me of Den from Dragon Age or a much grumpier Morrigan. I like the say please. Turned her nose up. Never. Alright guys, so we have saved all the people from the Nautiloid. We even got 2 new additions to our party, so that is a perfect spot to wrap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, there is a tip link in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you soon with more Baldur's Gate 3. Take care everybody, have a great day.